You need to find a teacher and work deeply with that one teacher, not running for this one and that one and the other one and a book and a video and blah, blah, blah. I mean, all this is created inside your mind. Your mind takes all that information, all that knowledge, and your mind creates your idea. But almost for sure, this idea that gets created in your mind from all these different information is completely false. And there's nobody to tell you it's false. Because very often spiritual people are very careful not to have a spiritual teacher. I can do it myself. I can do it myself. I watched all those films. I read all those books. I can do it myself. But who's going to tell you when you get the wrong idea? Nobody. So going on YouTube and watching, 10 different masters is actually not the way to go, because then you end up in a confusion, actually. The way to go is to meet somebody, which happens, I could say, kind of automatically within existence. When you become ready to need somebody to talk to you and to guide you, that person will appear. Yeah? But in Western Europe, people don't like to have a teacher. I can do it myself. Well, why didn't you do it then? You've been doing this for 20 years, so why didn't you do it? But they can't, and they don't see that. People are scary. They don't want somebody who may be telling you things you don't want to hear. But if you really want peace, then first I need to disturb you.
Okay, so I'm open to have a dialogue, but I'll make a little introduction. I mean, the first point in this film is that, we're all living in a certain conditioning. And in this conditioning, we have a certain idea about the world. We have a certain idea about our life. We have a certain idea about ourselves. And then for some reasons, we start to maybe go deeper in wanting to understand ourselves. And then we read books, we watch videos. Nowadays, of course, YouTube provides many videos. And gradually we collect inside our mind a kind of conception. We build up a kind of conception of what it is. What is this spiritual thing? Or who am I? We get an answer to this question, who am I, perhaps? And this is created inside our mind, and it may be that you create the perfectly right thing, which is probably emptiness or nothingness. But many times spiritual people will have a very sophisticated concept about what it is. But unfortunately, very often that concept is completely mental. It doesn't go deeper than being mental, being in the mind, being an idea in the mind. And therefore, having a teacher who you have a connection with, who you invite into your life, that teacher then can tell you if he thinks that maybe you have an idea which is not the correct idea. So then a teacher is very, very useful. But what I notice is that in Europe, I've now been living in Europe for many years, generally people are not very open to have a teacher because they have the idea that the teacher is some kind of authority, and then the teacher starts to tell them things which maybe are not fitting their concept, and then they feel like, why do I need this in my life? Why do I want to be disturbed by somebody telling me that this is the wrong way or the wrong idea? And so we become then a bit resistant. But if you're very sincere and you've had some experiences, these experiences will in fact attract a teacher to you. So when you've done enough work with yourself, a teacher will appear in your life. And you then can recognize that teacher or not, of course. Just today, we had a young lady who'd been here about 3 weeks in the community, nice young woman who has quite a lot of interest. But last night, she suddenly announced she's leaving. Previously, I think twice before, she had decided to leave, but each time she then decided to stay. And she knows that she has this tendency to leave if the situation gets a little uncomfortable, a little bit confronting. Then her response in her own life, she told us, is always to leave. And this is a kind of common strategy I notice amongst many human beings. They have this strategy then to leave. Yeah. But of course, this isn't such a clever strategy, because when you leave, you're still there. You're still taking yourself with you. So today I had a bit of a chat with this young lady and discussed the fact, well, you made a commitment you would stay until the end of the year. And after you twice were going to leave, you then said, okay, I make this commitment to stay until the end of the year, and that will help me not to leave. But it didn't, because this weekend, some of her friends are having a birthday party. So she wanted to go to this birthday party. And then somebody in the community talked with her and said, well, maybe this isn't the best idea. Why don't you, instead of that, come to a weekend that John David's holding, and you have your first chance to see if you want to be more involved with John David. And she said, yes, very good idea, very good idea. Until last night, when suddenly, out of the blue, she said, oh, I'm going to leave. I'm leaving. Actually, she was going to leave last night, spontaneously, immediately. Probably something happened. Maybe a friend called her, or one of her boyfriends called, something like this, and off she would go. And so we had a bit of a chat before she left today, and off she's gone. So this is a very common kind of thing, because we, unfortunately, when we're growing up in our family, we often have parents. And often these parents have been forever suggesting that what we're doing may not be the right thing. And in fact, we should be doing some other thing. So we build up, as we grow up, we build up a lot of resistance to being told, an authority who's telling us is not really what we want. And this tends to go on in our life with this, what we can call an authority issue, often a male authority issue, because somehow in many families, daddy is the sort of final arbitrator of what's right and what's wrong. So it's very common that here in Europe, people are not very open to the idea of having a spiritual teacher, because actually they don't want to be told. And as I was saying in the film, there is a tendency to imagine, I don't even need a teacher because I can do it myself, especially nowadays. As you see, I'm very old. And when I started to be interested, there was no YouTubes, there was no some films every night. You could watch many, many films. For me, there was no choice. I had to go off to India. Actually, I went to India via Japan. So I spent some time in Japan, and then from Japan, I moved to India and had a very strong kind of spiritual journey. And I never thought of looking on YouTube, because YouTube didn't exist in those days. But anyway, at the right moment, I can say, looking back on my life, at the right moment, somehow a master appeared when I had already begun to get very interested and had done a bit of spiritual work on myself. then somebody appeared. In my case, I had gone to visit an architect. In those days, I was an architect, and he was supposed to be an expert about Japanese architecture. And when I got to his house, we ended up spending the whole night talking about spiritual stuff. And he was wanting to introduce me to his own spiritual master, who happened to be Osho Rajneesh. And I remember when I left in the afternoon, he was encouraging me to listen to a tape of his master and so on. He was very enthusiastic. He said, "Oh, you're ready for this. You're ready for this." And my mind told me, no, I'm not ready for this. I'm not interested. I don't even like his accent. And so I was completely not open really to go and meet Osho. But existence took me there. Anyway, existence brought me to Osho. And when I met Osho, of course, I fell in love with him and became very involved for many years. So somehow I can say when I was ready, somebody showed up in my life. And as there wasn't so many people showing up in my life, I accepted the first one, which was Osho. But I noticed here in Europe, it's not so easy for people to become involved in a spiritual teacher. And also I've noticed that having a teacher who lives in a community, or you could live in a community with that teacher, get more involved, is even less attractive, because then it's all a bit like a family again, with daddy telling me what to do. So there's a lot of resistance to a teacher, and there's a lot more resistance to a teacher with a community around him. But of course, in fact, if you're really sincere, that situation is tremendously supportive. And of course, the teacher doesn't want to be any kind of authority. The teacher's whole effort is to show you that there's no difference between you and the teacher. We are all one. So there's no interest in judging you that who you are is somehow wrong. You're never wrong. You appear to be wrong. You can judge yourself as wrong, but the truth is you're never wrong. Nobody is ever wrong. We're all exactly right. But unfortunately, in many, many families, we are not brought up with this feeling of yes. We're not really encouraged to feel this yes to life. And many people are growing up with a deep sense that they're not good enough, or that they're not right. So anyway, a teacher, when you can understand how he's functioning, is a very useful guy to have in your life, because if he sees you going off down, the wrong road, so to speak, then he can guide you back, and he can show you that maybe some concept you've got is simply not a helpful concept. And this is what happens very often in our community. And it doesn't just happen with John David. It also happens between the people who are living together in the community. And of course, not everybody wants to live in a spiritual community. And so I invented, well, actually, it's many years now, 20 years ago, I think, I started what I call the Sangha group. And this is a group of people who live in the world and in the society, and come and spend a weekend with me every 3 months. And this group has now actually been running for 20 years, every 3 months for 20 years. I've had a small weekend with about 12 people. And this in itself can be very supportive. Somebody was just sharing that he was here last weekend, and the whole week he felt himself very quiet, unusually quiet. And so meeting for a whole weekend every 3 months is also tremendous support for deeper spiritual work. So that's one way that John David is offering, because of course, not everybody wants to live in a community, or they can't live in a community. Maybe they have a family, maybe they have children, all kind of reasons. So, but anyway, having the contact to a teacher, I would say, if you're really sincere, is terribly supportive. But then you have to deal with the fact that if it's a good teacher, he will almost certainly disturb you. He will do his best to disturb you, to shake your concepts. And of course, that can be a bit stressful. And so people avoid that whole situation by believing that they can do it themselves. So, would anybody like to respond? We can have a bit of a dialogue. Maybe there's a question. Maybe Divya would like to tell us why she doesn't really go along with that. Although tonight she's looking much more open than she was before. You want to have a chat? As we're both wearing a red sweater tonight.
Can you hear me? Can anybody hear me? So, hello?
Yeah, I think everybody can hear you. I can hear you anyway.
Good. Yeah, so I mean, I have to say, yeah, I watched the film before. I mean, and what I like about this film is that I really, really don't understand how it could happen that we met. Because it says when you're ready, you meet a spiritual teacher, and I feel so much not ready. Well, and I mean, before moving in the Open Sky house, I did not know. I had no idea what it means to work with a teacher, or to live in this community, and what it means that when you say you disturb people. And now I see this explosion in the end of the video. I say, yeah, it feels like this. But I don't explode because I build up this huge resistance, and it's stress. It's pure stress. My whole body reacts to this stress. I 2 days ago, I was with an osteopath here in Denja, a Norwegian woman, very good. And she did some craniosacral therapy because I have terrible back pain, hip pain, leg pain, whatever. Everything is blocked and tense. And she said, your energy is completely blocked. And I said, yes, I know. What did you do the last months? What changed? I said, yeah, I moved into a spiritual community. And it's so much stress. Even I'm here in Denja and not in Hittorf. So yeah, so today is the day I can a bit laugh about this. Like I can see that with more distance, so that I'm building up this stress. And I see also that I felt the same in my youth, in my family, when I had this feeling always somebody is telling me what to do and what not to do. So I'm repeating this kind of, but I'm so stuck still. And
well, I think we've caught you in a lucky moment tonight, because you don't feel so stuck tonight.
yeah. As I say, today is
another
part. It was really good with this craniosacral, and now I feel more energy flow, and yeah, not so much resistant today. This living from moment to moment and say, okay, here's just the moment. Oh, it's okay. Today it works quite well. Yeah.
Right. Well, maybe you should have a few more of those sessions, and that will move your energy a bit more, because you look quite good tonight. You're even smiling tonight.
But then I have to stay in Denja.
Well, there's lots of good people here in Cologne, actually.
Yeah.
But I mean, I mean, what you were saying just now, it actually isn't really true, because you met John David in the way that was suggested in this film about 12 years ago. And you were touched enough. In fact, in those days, your issue wasn't maybe so spiritual. Your issue in those days was that you didn't want to carry on doing the job that you were doing, but somehow you didn't know how to change it, because if I remember rightly, your father was a big part of why you were doing this job that you didn't really like doing. Yeah. And so you had got involved, and out of this involvement, you actually quit your job and went back to university, studied something that you had more interest in, and then your life gradually changed quite a lot. And when you had made that change, you decided you couldn't stand John David anymore. So you disappeared for, I don't know, 8 years.
No, but
And then 8 years went by, and then
yeah. 20 years went by.
Years went by, but about 8 years went by, and then you showed up again. So now you're in this mess that you've created. You chose to come and get involved. You chose very carefully. I think it took you about a year to enter into the. So this is all quite a conscious journey that you've been on, right? And
yeah, but I wasn't aware how much you could disturb me and how painful it would be. I had no idea.
Well, you have an idea now.
Yeah, but I had no idea before I moved in.
I don't think that's true, because when you used to come to my 3 monthly meetings, you did in fact get sufficiently disturbed that you told me goodbye. So you know I have the capacity to disturb you.
Yeah, but it was nothing in comparison to moving in. And I think I will leave when I come back to Hitdorf. I don't think I can stand it. That's what I think. But well, and we will see.
What you just said is your whole issue, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's your issue.
Exactly
I think
what you say, the young woman who left.
You're already thinking about what will happen in a week's time when you come back here. So this thinking is your issue.
Horrible, isn't it?
This is your issue.
Yeah.
You know? And it can stop being your issue, because you can see tonight that getting some help from the outside, from this energetic craniosacral session, has helped you to be much, much more open. Before I even talked to you, I could see that you're much more open. That's why, in fact, I'm talking to you tonight. And I would suggest that you maybe, when you get here to Cologne, you can get regularly once a week one of these craniosacral sessions. They have very good people in the Osho Center in Cologne. They specialize in that's one of the specializations for Osho's work. And it really moves the energy, and that really will help you to stop being so resistant and stop recreating whatever was going on in your family, because that's what you're doing.
Yeah, because it's I really noticed it everywhere, also in the body. Not only it starts in the thoughts that I create this resistance, but then it really moved into the body, and I could really feel that the energy was really, really stuck. And then with this session, yeah, she also said it was really hard work for her, but I felt something something moving through the whole body, and she said, yeah, okay, that's very good if you can at least feel it. And that's now 2 days ago, and yesterday it started moving, and today even more. So it was as if, yeah, the flow has opened a bit. Yeah.
Okay, you found something that can really help you. So I can recommend that you carry on, say, once a week, having one of these sessions, and that will really move your energy and open up your energy, and you'll find everything will start to change. You understand a lot, you know a lot, but somehow the emotional trauma you had in your family is so strong for you that you keep going back into that.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
And then you want to put it on to John David that he's doing horrible things to you. Actually, he's not doing horrible things to you, but you create it like that. You recreate me as your daddy telling you things you didn't want to hear.
Yeah, it's like feeling re-traumatized or something. Yeah.
Yeah, but you can do it another way. It doesn't have to be like that. Okay, anyway, nice to talk to you. We'll see you soon. Now I'm having trouble with this pointer. Okay, here we go. God. You'll have to fix this, otherwise it's all this trouble. Okay, so we have the gallery back. Is there somebody else who would like to dialogue on this subject? Gabrielle. Okay, very good. Go ahead. Gabrielle, if you say a word.
John. I had this fantasy. You come from the lineage Ramana Maharshi and Papaji.
Yeah.
And I realized now your teacher was Osho. Now I just wanted to say I had never a connection to Osho. I come out of a Buddhist line, but I feel, I always wanted to go to Berg Arunachala because of this, like a strong connection to Ramana. Even he died before I was born. So it happened now that this strong, really strong, many 20 years maybe of wanting to go to Arunachala. Now I find myself with you, John David, and I never, I thought you are in that lineage, but maybe it doesn't matter. I just wanted, I'm now a bit confused, but maybe that doesn't matter.
Well, I don't know what you're confusing about. I spent quite a few years with Osho.
Yes.
From when I was about 30 years old, 30, maybe 33 years old. And in those days, I'd never meditated, actually. When I came to Osho, I'd never meditated. And in his presence, something started to change in my life. And so I took up meditation, and I stayed at various times in his ashram, working sometimes in his ashram. And over a number of years, by my contact to Osho, I would say my life completely transformed. And then he left his body, and I was aware that I had made quite big changes inside myself, but I knew I wasn't completely cooked. And then, in a strange way, I could say I was ready for another teacher. I wasn't really looking for another teacher, but in a way I can see looking back, I was looking for another teacher. I'd actually already connected to Ramana Maharshi in a curious way, because I had rented some rooms in a palace near Osho's ashram, an old palace, and I had a beautiful apartment there. And it turned out that one of the old Maharajas had been a disciple of Ramana Maharshi. And so I found a photograph of Ramana Maharshi, which actually I have here in my apartment now. And I became aware of this teaching, who am I? So actually, although I wasn't looking for another teacher, I could say, looking back, Ramana Maharshi found me in a moment when I needed, some new guidance. he showed up in a curious way, not in person, but he showed up through this photograph and then through this Who Am I teaching. So gradually, you know, he had an effect. And then some of my friends went to visit Papaji.
Yes.
And then they came back, and I noticed that they'd had a strong energetic transformation in their time with Papaji. Maybe it wasn't such a long time they spent with him, but they came back and you could feel a kind of energetic glow from these people. And so I decided I would also go and visit him. And when I got there, maybe I already knew it, I can't remember really, but when I got there, he every day was sitting in his meetings under a very large photograph of Ramana Maharshi. And when he came in the morning, he namaste to this picture. And sometimes he told us that he was a channel for Ramana Maharshi. So in that curious way, I had met Ramana Maharshi quite early in my spiritual work. I was in one way with Osho, but Osho was not so available in one way. You know, he was a sort of great master, and he kept himself quite separately. So I was influenced by his talks. I was influenced by his meditation practices, and I did a lot of meditation. But at the same time, at a certain moment, Ramana Maharshi showed up in my life. In the beginning, I didn't really know who this guy was, except he was wearing diapers, which looked a bit strange. You know, he had a white beard and diapers. But anyway, gradually I discovered, you know, that he's a great master and blah, blah, blah. Then I went to Papaji, who was still living, and I had a very strong time with him. And so, you know, then later, just naturally, I found myself spending time in this small town at Arunachala Mountain, where Ramana lived his life from when he was about 16 years old. He lived in that place. And since now, I think this year is going to be the 22nd year, I've taken a group of students to have a retreat there. So in a way, Ramana Maharshi has taken over as my root advisor, you can say, or teacher, as you like. I mean, maybe you heard already that recently we've produced this book. Did you hear about this book?
Yes, I heard about it, yes.
So this book is a record of a young Indian man who came to his ashram in 1936 and stayed for 6 months. And every day he recorded the meetings and the goings on in the ashram. And about 2 years ago, I came across this manuscript. And within our community, we produced this edited version of the basic manuscript. Yeah. And many people, when they read this book, have a very strong connection to Ramana Maharshi. So if you feel some interest in Ramana Maharshi, you might consider getting this book.
Yeah, this is a different one, but since 20 years, this is like, and I also meditate. Like 20 years ago, I got this photograph, and it's on my temple, and I look in his eyes, and it's, he brought me into this heart kind of, it just heart open. I cannot resist. When,
right.
You know, and now I am coming to India and meet you, and and I also will meet, and we are also connected. I mean, I feel we are all the same, in that way the same.
Yeah, I mean, you say you've had that book for 20 years, so it's a little bit like my story, that he came to me through a photograph, yeah?
Yes,
and
with me too, the photograph.
Book, you know?
Yes.
So there are many stories about people kind of coming into contact with Ramana Maharshi in a strange way. In fact, Papaji himself had a strange experience. I don't know if you heard this story, but Papaji traveled around India looking for a master who could show him God. He had this question, show me God. And none of the masters he met when he traveled around India, he wasn't satisfied with what they could show him. So he went back home, which in those days was now Pakistan. And one day there was a knock on the door. And when he opened it, there was a sadhu there. Sadhus are people who give themselves to God, and they live in a very simple way. And he was knocking, asking for some food. And Papaji gave him food. And then he asked this man, do you know anybody who could show me God? And this man said, yes, in South India, there's a man, Ramana Maharshi, he could show you God. So this was very exciting for Papaji. And then as things happened in a mysterious way, shortly after, a friend told him there was a job in Madras, which is now Chennai, running the army canteen. And he got the job. So he moved his family to Madras. And after some time, he came to visit Ramana Maharshi. And when he came into the hall and saw Ramana Maharshi, he immediately became very angry and left the hall. And one of the assistants came out and said, what's the matter? He said, that man in there, he's a fraud, because 2 months ago, he knocked on the door in my house in Pakistan and told me that I could come here and Ramana Maharshi could show me God. You see? So that's a very incredible story. And of course, after that, Papaji had a very deep connection to Ramana Maharshi. Yeah. So
Thank you.
nice story, huh?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. So I'm sure you're going to have a nice time when you come to Arunachala. Yeah. Yeah. So I look forward to seeing you in just a couple of weeks.
Yes, me too. Thank you.
Okay, we'll see you soon.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Oh, I've done a mistake now. Okay, you'll have to come and rescue me. I've clicked the wrong place. Everything's disappeared. Anyway, would somebody else like to have a dialogue about this? We'll have to fix this for next week. So I'm going to click something. Zoom. Okay, good. Okay, and then when I go up here, I go there. Okay. Okay, I'm back in the gallery now. Would somebody else like to dialogue about this film? Something that maybe touched you from the film? If you'd like to have a dialogue, you can just wave your hand. Perhaps I should talk to Rani. Hello, Rani. Would you like to have a talk?
Actually, how I met you, it was really a miracle.
What's that?
How I met you, it was really a miracle.
Right, right. Do you remember how you met me?
Of course, I met you through Nataraj, who was a friend of I mean, we had common friends and we did meditation, and exactly that meditation came Nataraj. And when I was sharing my experience, which I get, he told me, oh, but you are like our client. So, and he told me about you, and I in the first meeting you came after my meeting with Nataraj. I came, and immediately the same evening I left to weekend, which was in Tripilla, and
Right. Yeah.
it started like this.
So when you see this little film, you can easily recognize what this film is suggesting, yeah? Because
Exactly.
somehow just started to meditate, you just had some interest, probably you had some kind of energetic experience happening, and then you maybe felt the need of getting some more knowledge or some other kind of connection. And then Nataraj, who was already a friend and was already connected to me, he introduced me to you.
Exactly. And maybe I was thinking that maybe it would happen before. I mean, I would not be interesting, but then Nataraj told me about you. I immediately felt that because it was already time, then I was following my inner voice, and my inner voice told me that it's for me. And I following this voice, and actually I never regret that I did it, because it was not the wrong way as in the movie, but the right way, together with you.
Right, right. Yeah, so now I think that was quite a few years ago already, 8 years ago, maybe 10 years ago.
10 years ago, yeah. Something like this.
Right. I was sorry to hear that it didn't work out for you to come to India, because we were looking forward to you to come to India. But I understand to Ireland, they weren't so generous as you expected.
Yeah, unfortunately. But you know, I don't know why it's happened like this, because honestly, I remember my great experience in India near Arunachala. I remember this amazing place, this room for meditation in ashram of Ramana Maharshi, where I spent many hours. And that experience which I had there, it's still in my mind, like it was like yesterday. So
Right. Okay.
yeah.
Well, let's see.
It's really mysterious place, and you know, even I was talking with some men who can see the subtle plan of me, and he told that I have connection with Ramana Maharshi, and then he asked me, who is it? Because he even didn't know who is it, but he saw that I have this connection with Ramana Maharshi.
Right.
In some subtle plan.
Maybe we should talk and see if we can find a way for you to come, you know? It's still 2 more.
You know, I trust existence completely, and I know if I have to be there, it will be some way that I will come. So it was every time. I mean, I remember when I first time came to Arunachala and to your retreat. It was also I didn't plan to do it at all, but existence brings me there. Just I was take a bus, and I was going alone through half India from Goa Chennai by bus, which for me, at the time, it was just impossible, but I did it because I felt that this is the right way for me. So
Okay, so I have an idea. So we have some people on the Zoom meeting tonight. Some of them are coming to this retreat in India, and other people may be touched from your sharing, the fact that you're from Ukraine and therefore you don't have a lot of financial power at the moment. Maybe there would be somebody listening now who would be able to give some donation towards a ticket for Rani. And
well,
then maybe we can figure out the rest of the costs between us, you know. But first thing is you need a ticket, yeah? So you need some money for a ticket. Let's see if anybody's touched tonight who would like to give a donation to you, because sometimes these things happen, you know. I've put this out before and very unexpectedly somebody has given a donation. So let's see if anybody is touched tonight to give you some help with your ticket.
yeah, let's see.
Because you had been quite keen to come, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see what might happen. Yeah. So somebody else would like to share? The gallery, you're all there, okay. I don't know, there's a lady who doesn't seem to be online. Angel Roche is her name. It's a nice picture, but do you have a video camera? We could see you, maybe talk to you. Ah, now you're appearing upside down. You're obviously a mysterious person.
Okay. I think there's a problem with the video. So,
Right.
can you hear me?
We can hear you well. We can see you, but you're horizontal rather than vertical. Maybe you can move your camera a bit.
Yeah. I had a button on the camera. I know now. Brrrmp.
Have we met before?
No, we have never met before because I talked to my friend Gabrielle yesterday and she told me that she would come to the ashram. And so I was very curious because I was thinking about going to India and I didn't know where to go. So that was 4 weeks before, and then I stopped searching. And then I remembered that once I was talking to her and we said that one time we are going to walk around the mountain together. Haha. But
Are you now?
both of us,
Are you in Europe or are you in India?
Sorry?
Where are you talking from? Are you in India already?
No, I'm in Germany. I'm in Munich.
Okay.
You don't see the snow behind me.
You know, there's a wonderful invention. It's called an aeroplane. You know, and this wonderful invention can carry you from Munich all the way, so you can walk around the mountain together.
Yeah, I heard about it. So then I decided to listen to the satsang today, but I also had another Zoom meeting, so I came late and then I didn't check my video. So I was just listening to what you were talking and wondering, well, do I want to go to that place? I don't know you, and how do I feel about it? And that was what was happening. So that's the story about the silent lady.
It's a bit like with Gabrielle, you know, she did the same thing you did, except she had the camera vertical. You're a bit more of an issue because I have to. Oh, now you're upside down. Oh, now you're there. You are.
Oh,
now
I'm here. Yes. So okay,
you.
that's me. Mm-hmm.
Hello, hello. Very nice. Okay. Anyway, Gabrielle also didn't know John David about a month ago. I think she didn't know me
Mm.
at all. And she also came on the Zoom. And after the Zoom, she more or less decided to come to India, but she had a few hiccups, if I remember.
Mm.
But she got her ticket together. So I mean, you're still welcome. We have actually still 2 places left in this retreat. So if you find spontaneously,
Mm. So I think
Gabrielle
I'm
can,
going to make up my mind tomorrow, and I think I'll sleep about it, and then I see what I'm going to dream, and then tomorrow I will know what to do.
okay. Have you done meditation? Are you already doing spiritual work?
Yes, I'm doing spiritual work. I'm doing yoga and meditation nearly every day since 10 years or so.
Right, right.
And, well,
And have you got your own connection with Ramana Maharshi?
no, I only
No?
know the picture, but I like the picture very, very much. And as I said before, I'm quite curious to
Right,
know about his work.
right, right. Well, you'll have to borrow Gabrielle's book, I think, or
I saw the book before, yes. Maybe
right.
I can have a look into the book in the next days and make yeah, start to start a friendship with him and
Yeah.
and his talking. Yeah.
In the meantime, you have a spiritual teacher that you're involved with.
I
I think
had a spiritual teacher who also was an old English man with a lot of English British humor.
Tony
And
Parsons.
yes, he passed. And then I was without a spiritual teacher. And in the summertime, I decided that I would like to have another one. And then I met a German spiritual teacher, and I have been to 3 meditation sessions, and I'm not quite sure. So I'm listening to him, and I think it's good to be there. Um, I feel free. I feel free in thinking, and but well, my daughter would say it didn't really catch me. So
Okay. Well, maybe it's a lot for me to catch you now because we started off horizontal, not vertical. But now it's easier, you know.
Hmm.
Anyway, I mean, you're welcome to come. We have space for actually 2 more people. And maybe Gabrielle can explain to you. We have a very nice small ashram. There's about 20 people, and we make our own kitchen. And some Indian people who we've known for many years, they cook us lunch because we have a meeting together in the morning. They cook us lunch, so we have a kind of Indian curry lunch, and then in the evening we cook a bit Western dinner. So you get both kinds of food. And this retreat has been running for, as I say, for 21 years, I think.
Okay. And what about the yoga sessions? Can
We
you tell me something about the yoga sessions?
we start every day. I can't remember the time, but maybe 7:30 with half an hour of yoga, and then half an hour of meditation, and breakfast, and then we have about 40 minutes of mantra singing. And then there's a meeting with myself for about 2 hours. And then we have lunch. And then in the afternoon, different things happen. There's some free time. And there's also, we various different things happen in the afternoon and evening. Yeah. But if you're interested, if you go onto my website, it's johndavid.international. If you go on that website, we have a section about the Indian retreat, which includes a 5-minute film, which will give you some good idea about the retreat.
Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to have an idea. So there will be a lot of talking, or is it more more time spent with meditation?
Well, I mean, probably roughly half and half, but the intention is that the retreat is based in silence. But we also talk, yeah, but coming from silence.
Okay, and we prepare the breakfast together?
Right, yes, well, the lady on the screen next, oh no, she's not the one. There is a lady on the screen tonight who is going to be preparing the breakfast. And we have a roster, so everybody gets to help with that.
Okay, and do we have to do our shopping ourselves?
No, we have a team of people who do the shopping. So, I mean, if you'd like to know more details, if you wake up in the morning and you have a sort of yes. Then Gabrielle can give you the phone number of the lady on the right of the screen. Can you wave, Indira? The lady waving is the organizer of the retreat, and Gabrielle can give you her phone number, and you can talk directly, and she can answer all your practical questions.
Okay, so that's what I'm going to do later, because I already have the phone number, and we're writing about having a call later.
Okay.
That's what I'm going to do.
She's available 24 hours a day.
Okay. So thank you very much.
Okay, very
I
nice.
hope you know a little bit more about the silent lady.
You're the silent lady? Good. Okay, is there somebody else who'd like to talk a bit? Okay. There's Parvati. So Parvati, who's waving now, she's the community cook, and she's also the cook for the retreat. But probably now she's going to dialogue about the film. Are you?
Yes, yeah. I would like to dialogue more that you really don't know before how it is to live with a teacher or to work with a teacher.
Right.
Yes, I also moved in, but I don't know every day. So there is nothing safe, I would
Sorry, just a moment. I need help again. I've clicked something again and now everything's disappeared. Anyway, carry on. Sorry, I can see you on the small picture.
Yeah, but you can me.
I hear you and see you. Not the way I want to see you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's always okay. I've got you back now. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, and this I would like to share that every day, no, it's just the truth you need into the life of the community and into the life with the teacher. It happened, no? And what now happened with Divya, this is that something comes, and this is what I also, that can be threatening, it can be yet move out because something is moved of you. And then for you, may direction which safe than before.
Right.
For me, it means more alive. I more alive. This I can say. During the 14 years I'm here now.
Well,
So
Parvati is an older lady who gets younger and younger. And she works a lot. She's been in the kitchen now for quite a few years, I think, huh? How many years is it? anyway.
6, 7, 8.
Right, and she works a lot naturally, and then out of all this, she gets younger, which is quite beautiful, I think. Yeah. Yeah.
Younger inside.
Right. Well, you look quite good too, I would say. She was recently in Spain, and of course the weather there is very nice, and she came back quite healthy, I
Fresh.
thought. Fresh, yeah, fresh. Good word. So anything in this film that touched you? I mean, we've had several examples tonight of people sharing how they met their teacher, actually. So I think what the film is suggesting is really true. And equally, I think it's true that many people's kind of mental structure prevents them really accepting to have a teacher. And they have maybe some fear of how that could be. They feel maybe that they could get judged and they don't want to be judged, and so on and so on. But actually the journey with the journey with a true teacher is a wonderful journey.
This I would also, because when you start to look for, you have already a teacher, and then you search at the internet for some such. This is always a dangerous point, I would say. And it's already a point where you come to a border where you want to go somewhere else. So I would say, now the mind wants something new then.
A few years ago, you had your bag packed. Remember, we had a meeting. And we had a dramatic meeting when you had your bag packed and everything was enough. John David had provoked you a bit, and you were leaving.
But in 14 years, it was only one time, really.
One time in 14 years.
Well, I really want to go, so I can say.
Right. Okay, very nice. So we have time for one more dialogue if somebody else likes to join in. Cassie, okay. 1 second, I'm gonna try to click the right button. Okay.
The last part of the film, you don't want to disturb, and then bath. Now that is what I see what can happen here. But also how my mind always tried to find ways to avoid, but also, of course, never, you can never avoid it. And just to let it happen. You know, not to be disturbed, or when you say something that I look, I still look for avoiding conflicts, but it is, I can also see that it is crazy because you cannot avoid it. If you go left or right, it happens.
Right.
You cannot not be disturbed.
It happens if it needs to happen, you know?
It needs to happen, yes.
If it needs to happen, then you get disturbed, you know, and there's some need because you see something which you maybe didn't see before, you know?
Yeah,
but,
I know. And I also see that it makes me more free.
Right, yeah. Maybe you can talk to your friend Divya about that, because somehow she's got a bit of an idea that the teacher kind of punishes her or something. But as you say, it's not like that, because when the teacher is disturbing something, usually the result of that disturbance is that something goes away. Something, as you say, is more free.
Mm-hmm. Yes, but first, what is happening, what I also could see, and that is in the beginning was that even more stronger, that the punishment comes from inside me towards myself. You know, that I do something wrong, or you know.
Right.
So, and to see that is happening, that it is my mind who is punishing me.
Yeah, unfortunately, you know, what we experience when we're quite young, somehow that stays inside us and gets reconnected to somehow in certain situations. Yeah. And we probably forget that now we're rather big, and this thing happened to us when we were rather small in very different circumstances. Yeah. Anyway, we'll see you in a week. See you soon. Okay, so I think we're going to probably finish our meeting now, unless anybody else quickly wants to jump in. Otherwise, I think we're going to have next week another meeting on Thursday, just the last one of this winter series. And then on Monday, we're flying to India. So it's quite an exciting moment. And we're having a big party on next Saturday to celebrate the community's 20th birthday. So this is a nice moment, and everybody's preparing some cabaret. So we look forward to this cabaret. We're planning Persian food for this evening. Well, Radha's planning it, we hope. Okay, so those of you I don't know so well, I look forward to meeting you in India. And perhaps we have a new guest coming. We won't know until tomorrow. And I wish you well. Okay.